Hi guys, Anne Widdecombe. Sorry, I have to respond to this old fossil which keeps getting invited on to the likes of GB News to defend Brexit. So, as we know, there are massive delays taking place at the port of Dover. On Sunday night, it seemed as if they were starting to clear, thankfully. The main problem is passport checks, and reports from Sky News have been saying that it's been taking up to an hour to check all the kids on each bus, and there are dozens of buses queuing up at the port. Since Brexit, every passport has to be checked, and in many cases stamped. This takes time. Do you think Anne Widdecombe understands that? Does she heck?
Anne, can we talk about those delays in Dover? My heart goes out to the many Brits trying to get to France for their holidays. Is it due to Brexit?
No. Brexit itself isn't to blame for anything. It's what people have done with Brexit that makes the difference. Now, this is all happening on the French side.
No, Anne. It's not happening on the French side. It's happening on the British side. It's happening in Dover. Now, there's a thing called juxtaposed controls. What that means is that British officials operate passport controls and customs checks or whatever in Calais, and the opposite happens in Dover. So French officials are operating in Dover. Now she's blaming this on the French side. It's not happening in France, it's happening in Dover. Does Anne Widdecombe not understand that? Does she not understand that since 1994 this has been the operation? French officials work in Dover and British officials work in Calais. You know, she was in the government at the time, I believe, when this was put in place. We're talking 1994, 30 years ago almost. This has nothing to do with the French. Now, if the French staff don't have enough resources, enough booths, for example, to check buses and cars and trucks, whose responsibility is that? They can't build new infrastructure. That infrastructure belongs to the UK government.
This is French inefficiency. This is the French saying they're going to make our lives awkward precisely because of Brexit.
So it's the French punishing Brexiteers. The French punishing Britain. But how can they punish Britain if it's in Dover, you frigging idiot?
Now, the net result will be that sooner or later people are going to say, well, we won't go to France, we'll go somewhere else where it's more efficient. But it's all...
Okay, how do you go to another place? Now, I don't know the situation in other ports around Europe, but the problem is not the French officials. The problem is the port of Dover. So if you're traveling from Dover to another part of Europe, the checks will have to be carried out in Dover. Does she not understand that when you're leaving Dover, that's where the checks are carried out, not at the port of arrival? Now, I don't know the situation with other countries, the Netherlands or Belgium, but I imagine they have a similar situation that the French have, that the checks are carried out in Dover. Like, these people used to be in government. People like Anne Widdecombe used to be a minister.
Also, it's not just deliberate provocation. It is much more inefficiency, failure to provide enough staff at the very moment that there was going to be increased traffic, because it is, after all, the holidays. That's not rocket science to work that out. But France is in a bit of a pickle in general at the moment, so perhaps the poor things just can't quite get it right.
The poor things can't... What a condescending, ridiculous statement. The poor French, they don't know their arse from their elbow. The problem is that there isn't enough resources. I'm talking about booths to check people at Dover. What needs to happen is the port of Dover needs to be expanded so that you can have more staff. But this is a consequence of having to check passports. This was not really the case before Brexit. Passports could be checked, but it was up to the discretion of the people who were working there. Say, okay, we do spot checks, or we check passports on this day. But now they have to check every passport. And in some cases stamp it. And that takes time. But that's happening in Dover. French officials working in Dover. There's nothing to do with the French side. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.